Sub, on the other hand of it, played a lot of Royal Giant as well. He had a lot of success in general. He only lost with Graveyard and with Royal Piggies. So we'll see here. Pedro, top of your screen. Sub at the bottom, kicking off our June monthly final. Day 1, match 1. Here we go.
And there we go.
And a Berserker to start for Pedro could already mean that he's going to the Magic Archer deck that we were just talking about with Miner and Wall Breakers.
Sub responds well with the skeletons on top of the wall breakers. You know, it's the difference between pros and non-pros. That there was no chance the wall breakers were making it to the tower. So many people are just slightly delayed right there. He was just on top of it.
Now, this is another deck that's been really popular, is kind of running this, Hero Magic Archer deck, but then throwing in our good friend, the Goblinstein. Nice support there. As you see, almost being able to get to tower. Pedro trying to stop that in its tracks, and then going with this Hero Magic Archer Dark Prince Piggies deck.
Yeah, I was using the deck that Pedro was running probably about 2 months ago, and played quite a bit of it, and would struggle against Royal Hogs, but that's because I was running Cannon. And so he's now swapped that out, got himself the Bomb Tower, and this is just going to be really tough to get past.
And Magic Archer's out in both direction here. Lightning probably the last card here for Sub. And Pedro, known as one of the best Miner players in the world. So exciting to see him come out with his favorite win condition right off the bat.
Going to be another easy defense, and that's just kind of what happens when you're running Royal Hogs. When you're going up against Bomb Tower decks, sometimes that first 2 minutes is just survive, try and not give up too much chip damage, and then make it to double. So I really like what Pedro's been able to do at this beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's a great point that you make. I mean, Sub just playing it really, really patiently here. Pedro just playing good defense. A lot of times people will try to get ahead of themselves in single elixir as they feel they're running into a brick wall, but knowing you're going up against Bomb Tower, nice to slow things down. That's a great value Lightning there. Now the Goblin Monster is just a little bit ineffective. E-Spirit to start, then a perfect barrel, but that's a really nice... Wow! The predictions on predictions there. Sub, knowing that the Magic Archer is going to come down for the Bar Barrel after playing it perfectly, then throws in the Royal Hogs, the Evo Royal Hogs, to block the Magic Archer at the bridge. Though Pedro's still in the lead, Sub making some great plays to start our Saturday off.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic from Sub. Just both players 3 steps ahead of each other. And when that happens, it's still even, but that just shows the skill level of both of these esport players.
Yeah, it's really interesting here to see how this match is going to shake out. Obviously, Pedro looking to break through, looking to get some minor chip damage, and Sub probably already recognizing that he's going to have to keep playing his Royal Hogs to maybe get Elixir out of Pedro, maybe keep his cycle where Sub wants it. But a lot of lightning damage is what he's going to be going for throughout this game.
Yeah, going to be trying to get that lightning damage when he can. Sub, these Teslas are great, and it's such a simple thing, but playing the Tesla, it always kind of, it's a pretty finicky card, so the fact that he's always placing it on the right tile, setting himself up, defending well, just a really strong start for both of these players. And again, predicts it just in time, no Magic Archer chip on top of the Crown Tower.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you can't risk in these games. You know that Magic Archer connecting is really going to be the biggest way for Pedro to either get the lead back or take the lead and get a substantial one at that. Otherwise, it's only minor chip and wall breakers breaking through. You can see here Sub just stacking Teslas as much as he can, which you have to do. That's one thing that the pros always do better than the casual players, is just always keeping buildings on the board, always getting to their evoed building. And here we go. This is a really great push here by Sub, getting more lightning damage in and continuing to bait out Elixir with that Bomb Tower.
Yeah, and right here, Tesla high, going to be able to protect both sides. What he's doing to be able to protect these Teslas is just brilliant. There's never a chance for them to get knocked off the map, and that's exactly what you want to be doing in this matchup.
And there you go, once again, high Tesla here, blocks the Magic Archer as well. That is such a good play. Sub goes high on the Tesla, recognizes that Pedro can get a Magic Archer connection for there, and that's why you saw the placement on those Piggies. This is just textbook play from Sub. Absolutely incredible stuff.
Gets the lightning down on top of the tower, and that's going to be game one. Sub just played that beautifully. It was probably 4, 5, maybe even 6 attempts of the Magic Archer trying to get sniped on top of the crown tower, and every time he held it down, was able to predict it in time. I mean, that was gorgeous.
Why he wasn't able to do really anything with it. Not really any point in activating the King Tower there either, knowing that your bomb tower is going to clean up the piggies every single time. And then with the way that Sub was defending, using only the Tesla, again, with this Goblin Giant, or the Goblin Monster, Goblinstein deck, you got to remember it's NATO and not delivery. Just not really ability to NATO units together to line up that Magic Archer shot, because Sub, again, just using the Tesla over and over. Textbook plays in game number 1, and the win streak continues, at least here in the CRL stage for Sub, as we get into game number 2.
I'm just trying to figure out how he was able to defend with a Knight on top of the Crown Tower against a Goblin Barrel Fire Spirit push, and it didn't get shots. That was just really well done.
So Sub here looking like he could be going to Graveyard. We've seen Demolisher with Graveyard a lot more this month, which is really interesting. It's a card that was pretty much always with Drill. We started seeing it with Graveyard a little bit more just over the last couple of months. AC, do you have any specific thoughts on why that might be, or is it just the synergy of kind of getting the splash damage against your defensive units?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to assume it's just synergy-based. The thing is, it's just a strong card. You know, when you can get value with it, you're getting, 6, 8 elixir worth of value every time you plop it down on the field. So, I mean, you basically just want to be using it. We just haven't been able to do that as of late.
Also, the defensive ability of kind of using it like a wall breaker, offensive and defense, is always nice as well, especially for pile-ups at the bridge. And there has been a lot of bait decks out there that have had Mighty Miner in it, but to see Pedro come out with the Boss Bandit is really interesting. Boss Bandit's still one of the more frustrating cards to deal with in the game. I don't really know if it needs to be changed, but it is still like you hear. I heard Riley talk about it on one of his videos recently. I've heard a lot of pros talk about it, but just that, like, it's just an annoying card to deal with.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I certainly have no idea how to get that fixed. So, yeah.
So these barrels coming in and continuing to get some good damage, baiting out the Evo Snowball there. Never a good feeling to have to use the Evo Snowball defensively, but better to do it than to be stubborn about it. And here we go. Here's an instance where this Boss Bandit is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really unlucky timing right there, going in with the Demolisher on the right side. This Boss Bandit has put in so much work. He still has to worry about the left, and that's a Dark Goblin getting 4 shots on top of the tower. I mean, this pressure is relentless coming in from Pedro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about both decks that Pedro ran. They're about a lot of pressure, and this is very, very different form of pressure. Just relentless barrels coming out. Those the Dark Goblins on the board, just creating a lot of space, a lot of DPS. Obviously, the Evo Dark Goblin got a buff recently so that the poison does more damage. And right now, Sub probably just going to want to hang on for the next 40 seconds, just play some stout defense, try to figure out a way to get a good counter push, and then in triple elixir, just really turn things up.
Yeah, right there, just kind of interesting abilities. I'm not exactly sure what his goal was to be continuing to pop that, but yeah, I don't know. That was kind of a weird spot, but it felt like he was confident in the play.
So Goblin Huts out in both directions. Goblin Barrels go flying once again, and an Evo Snowball having to be used on the fake Goblins as a Berserker goes down on the real Goblins on the lowest tower, 1674 to 2461. Sub now finally getting back on offense, but that Dark Goblin is in a perfect place, and a second Dark Goblin comes down. Great cleanup there with the assist from the Skellies.
Yeah, I mean, Pedro is doing such a good job. Sub cannot get Graveyards out on the field, even though we're finally in triple elixir. As soon as he goes Graveyard, he wins the bridge battle, and then he goes opposite lane with pressure on top of the tower. I mean, that is exactly how you draw it up on how to win with bait. Yes, it is a hard counter, but this hard counter is getting played to perfection right now. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to put it, is that this is a very fortunate matchup for Pedro, but he's also playing it very well. As you can see, Sub is just
always kind of uncomfortable in defending these goblin barrels, and then it feels like he's almost always forcing in his graveyards, which is the last thing you want to do. Although good damage coming in there, not going to be enough, not enough time left as Pedro evens things up 1-1 through our first 2 games of play.
Whew. I mean, it's not supposed to be this close. Sub, again, played really well,
Yeah.
and again, Pedro played really well. I mean, this is exactly what we want to be seeing.
Something that we hadn't seen before, and obviously worked out very, very well in that specific matchup. Now with, I was going to say, now with the Furnace out, you would think it could be either Graveyard or Hog. That's basically the only 2 places we've been seeing it.
Yeah, and right here, Sub looks like he's playing a Loon variation. It's looking like Lava Loon right now. Pedro on the other side still hasn't used any true big spells. Log basically being the most amount of damage he's been able to get on top of the tower for free. And man, this Golden Knight just always gets to the tower with these dashes at this point.
Yeah.
It's just so strong. You feel like you still have that extra half second, and you really do not.
Yeah, the Golden Knight getting a bit of a buff, kind of like a secret buff almost, with the way that its dashing works to match that more of the Boss Bandit and the Bandit. I believe the verbiage that Donald used was basically like, instead of it having to target the center of the unit, it's now targeting like the farthest, what's the best way to put it? It used to have to be the center of the unit that it was dashing to, but now it's kind of like the outside edge of the tile that it's touching, if that makes sense. So it's going to dash a lot sooner, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to get on top of.
Yeah, it's just so quick to make a decision at this point. And right here, heading into double elixir, Pedro's gotten a decent bit of chip damage, but Sub's really been waiting for double elixir. Protects again. This is a solid defense. Should be able to clean up everything real nicely.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when Sub wants to actually go to the skies. Obviously a lot to deal with on the ground. Looks like, I mean, you know, the nice thing about the Spirit Empress is it does give you that one more ground unit bailout, and right now Sub just opting to go in Lava Hound in the back. Sub did run Lava Hound once, but it was a very different version than what we're seeing right now. It was with Hero Dark Prince, Miner, and the Evo Goblin Cage. That lightning
there
might not be enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much value it got protecting everything, because he was able to keep that Evo Valk alive. But especially with the help of the Royal Delivery, should clean up everything really nicely. But at this point, this is kind of what Sub was looking for. He's okay with being down 600 HP at this point. It's now double elixir, and we're going to start seeing Lava Hounds just constantly get cycled onto the map.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if we see Pedro switch lanes at all with the Hog. You know, he does have a good amount of damage in, but we all know that a couple Hog hits is more than enough. And here we go. First Tesla out already on top of that Spirit Empress. That's a really nice placement on top of that Tesla. For that Tesla on top of the Spirit Empress. Spirit Empress, one of the most frustrating cards to deal with. It's kind of like a stronger flying machine. And there you go, AC, just like you talked about, that delivery doing such a good job cleaning up. Valkyrie's still on the board, though. And now this is a great time for Sub to lava up again in the back.
Yeah, he wants to be able to protect this without using a troop. He's not going to be able to do that in time, though. So good activated ability in using it into the Empress, just trying to get the Tombstone out of cycle, and that's exactly what happens right there.
I was going to say, was the Tombstone not in cycle? Would it have been better to just play this Tombstone against the Golden Knight? Not sure there.
Yeah. It's really close. If he wins, it's okay. If he loses, it was bad.
Nice protection there of the Tesla with the guards. Fireball zap in on top of that Furnace once again. And now you have to think about the Hog coming back down the lane. Delivery going to come down? No. Evo Tesla is there, and then the delivery. That is just picture-perfect defense from Pedro. Sub has 30 seconds and a miracle he's going to need.
Yeah, going to try and go all in right here. Can he get the timing? He does not. So that Tesla's still going to be alive for just a little bit. But we got the little bomb on top of the tower, getting it down to 1338.
13 seconds remaining. Another balloon coming in. Hog Rider on the ground. Tombstone has to come out. No support here. Another Tesla probably going to come down for Pedro. And that is going to do it. Pedro is going to take the opening set 2-1 by a hair. 118 to 941. Lightning just a second late. But the Fireball Zap did come in to maybe make it look a little bit closer than it actually was there. Very, very nice set from both of these guys, and that is a great pick in game number 3.